Hello everyone, this is ZJ Scott 1, and tomorrow marks a momentous occasion. Tomorrow will be my 6-year anniversary since I began life on YouTube. To celebrate this occasion, I decided to go back to an old show from my past that pretty much I considered the worst Disney Channel sitcom altogether. And ironically, it's actually 7 years old today, and that show is Liv and Maddie. Now, as most shows, I reviewed it in the past, but it wasn't anything that great or anything. But now I'm a bit more experienced and have some better choice things to say about it. And as of most Disney Channel sitcoms, I mostly came across this through my little sister, because she used to watch a lot of this stuff when she was young. She still does, but hey, to each their own. So anyway, let's begin with the characters, or the setup actually I should say. It's about a former child star returning to her show, or returning home from her show known as Sing It Loud, or as she likes to say, just says the same title but sings it, which I'm not gonna do. But and it has a bunch of zany antics, and it's just so on, and I pretty much just describe it as a bunch of cliches for characters. Speaking of which, let's get to that. So let's start off with our main leads of Liv and Maddie, who are both played by the same actress, Dove Cameron. So Liv is pretty much your stereotypical fashionista, movie star type character. She pretty much considers her show like the Bible or something, pretty much. And if anyone disrespects it, it feels like she would pretty much hunt you down on the street, pretty much, and force you to watch it non-stop. And at points, her character is also pretty much interchangeable. Like, at one point, she's smart about art. Then the next moment, she's stupid enough to think that senior citizens need acting lessons when they need more exercise, or doesn't know how to live out in the wild. Then we have her twin sister Maddie, who is pretty much your stereotypical tomboy, doesn't like wearing dresses, plays sports and all that, has a victory screech, and just is pretty much just like a big shot that always wants to win. Then we have their brother Joey, who is always the smug smarty that's always trying to be the best, and like whenever something goes his way, he always has to act like he's a big jerk about it. And when he actually gets his chance to be cool, it goes to the whole cliche. Let me think here. The whole cliche, we don't care you're not cool or not, or da-da-da-da. It's just ridiculous. Like, at one point, he gains a Falcon personality, or a Falcon persona, which is pretty much just a parody of Batman in a way. But when people actually found out he wasn't actually that cool in his original school, they still didn't care, which is cliche. Next, we have Mrs. Rooney, we got their younger brother Parker, who is pretty much the genius inventor, pretty much. So it's another somewhat like Jimmy Neutron in a way or something, but not everything's like that. It's the best example I could pull up. Then we have Mrs. Rooney, actually, now, who is pretty much the trying to be cool mother, who's also a bit of a hoarder at points. Well, that was only one episode, but still. And next we have Mr. Rooney, who is pretty much the stereotypical coach, like coach dad, pretty much, that gives off often advice and just helps out the team and so on. And then we have Maddie's friend Willow, who is pretty much the obsessive stalker that pretty much haunts the guy that she has a thing for to no end. The biggest problem I have is that I've seen this stuff done before and better, mainly with Helga from Hey Arnold and Tootie from The Fairly Odd Parents. The only difference is that those two don't, while they do have shrines to the actual person that they love, and one of them actually has recordings of him, they don't actually try and buy their crush's used retainer and try and shove it in their mouth, or just happen to end up with them later on in the series, which is even more ridiculous. And then there was Artie, who is pretty much your stereotypical bully character who's followed along with two goons, pretty much. So it's another Draco Malfoy, pretty much. The only difference is that I got nothing, because I've only seen select few bits of it, or most, but I've seen enough to actually know about it, really. And that's pretty much it. Most of the other characters are pretty much just one-note characters, like the news reporter that always appears every so often, or just the hipster aunt later on, or no, hippie aunt later on in the 3rd season. But the biggest problem with me is that it's just cliche, or just many of the things are unfunny. Whether it be Liv or Maddie having a dodgeball fight in a senior center, which ends in them breaking a window, and Maddie has to take the blame. Or no, yeah, Maddie has to take the blame for it because Liv just chickens out. Or just Joey winning at a random game and he's pretty much just being a smug jerk about it and not trying to go again because he's acting like he's a whole big shot and all that. Regardless, also many of the things just don't fly with me. I don't understand why it's always a bunch of cliches or so on, because I just don't get any of the humor. Because to me it's almost as dry as Lab Rats, another Disney Channel show. Granted, that show, I never really watched much of it either, but I actually seen bits and pieces of Bionic Force, or Elite Force actually, but the only improvement I saw in that series was that they got rid of Adam, who is pretty much the most annoying character. So, that's pretty much all I gotta say about it. Thanks for tuning in and for watching all these stuff for about 6 years now. I hope to keep on making new videos in the future. So long.